Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So we will be reading from the first canto, Srimad-Bhagavatam, chapter 5, Narada's instructions on Srimad-Bhagavatam, text 19. Navai jano jatu kathanchana vrajen Navai jano jatu kathanchana vrajen Mukunda sevyan yavadanga sansritim Mukunda sevyan yavadanga sansritim Smaran mukundang hripagohanam punar. It's a little difficult to connect hriyu.
Good to read.
Huh? Or difficult to read even. I see. From my angle it's very easily readable, but
Maybe because of
the
light
is
coming on the eyes.
So shall we skip it? Smaran mukundang hripagohanam punar Vihatum narasagraho janaha Vihatum narasagraho janaha Navai jano jatu kathanchana vrajen Mukunda sevyan vayadanga sansritim Smaran mukundang hripagohanam punar Vihatum narasagraho janaha Navai jano jatu kathanchana vrajen Mukunda sevyan yavadanga sansritim Smaran mukundang hripagohanam punar Vihatum narasagraho janaha. Next one.
Navai jano jato kathanana rije vraje
Navai jano jatu kathanchana vraje
Mukunda sevyana vadanga samriti
Mukunda sevyan yavadanga sansritim
Smaran mukunda griyu pagahana vana punar
Smaran mukunda hripagohanam punar
Vihatum ishena rasagraho jana
Vihatum narasagraho jana
Navai jano jatu katanjana vrajen
Navai jano jatu kathanchana vrajen
Mukunda sevyanya vadanga sansritim
Mukunda sevyanya vadanga sansritim
Smaran mukundang ryopaguhanam punah
Smaran mukundang hripagohanam punar
Vihatum ichenna rasagraho jana
Vihatum narasagraho jana. Matajis, if they see it. No. Okay. Na, never. Vai, certainly. Janaha, a person. Jatu, at any time, katkanchana, somehow or other, avrajet, does not undergo, mukunda sevi, the devotee of the Lord, anyavat, like others, anga, oh my dear, sansritim, material existence, smaran, remembering, mukunda anghri, the lotus feet of the Lord, upaguhanam, embracing, punaha, again, vihatum, willing to give up, ichet, desire, na, never, rasagraha, one who has relished the mellow, janaha, person. My dear Vyasa, my dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember the ecstasy again and again. Purport. A devotee of the Lord automatically becomes uninterested in the enchantment of material existence because he is rasagraha, or one who has tasted the sweetness of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. There are certainly many instances where devotees of the Lord have fallen down due to uncongenial association, just like fruitive workers who are always prone to degradation. But even though he falls down, a devotee is never to be considered the same as a fallen karmi. A karmi suffers the result of his own fruitive reactions, whereas a devotee is reformed by chastisement directed by the Lord himself. The sufferings of an orphan and the sufferings of a beloved child of a king are not one and the same. An orphan is really poor because he has no one to take care of him, but a beloved son of a rich man, although he appears to be on the same level as the orphan, is always under the vigilance of his capable father. A devotee of the Lord, due to wrong association, sometimes imitates the fruitive workers. The fruitive workers want to lord it over the material world. Similarly, a neophyte devotee foolishly thinks of accumulating some material power in exchange for devotional service. Such foolish devotees are sometimes put into difficulty by the Lord himself. As a special favor, he may remove all material paraphernalia. By such action, the bewildered devotee is forsaken by all friends and relatives, and so he comes to his senses again by the mercy of the Lord and is set right to execute his devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that such fallen devotees are given a chance to take birth in a family of highly qualified brahmanas or in a rich mercantile family. A devotee in such a position is not as fortunate as one who is chastised by the Lord and put into a position seemingly of helplessness. The devotee who becomes helpless by the will of the Lord is more fortunate than those who are born in good families. The fallen devotees born in a good family may forget the lotus feet of the Lord because they are less fortunate, but the devotee who is put into a forlorn condition is more fortunate because he swiftly returns to the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking himself helpless all around. Pure devotional service is so spiritually relishable that a devotee becomes automatically uninterested in material enjoyment. That is the sign of perfection in a progressive devotional service. A pure devotee continuously remembers the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna and does not forget him even for a moment, not even in exchange for all the opulence of the three worlds. Navai jano jatu kathanchana vrajen mukunda sevyan yavaddanga sansritim smaran mukundang hripaguhanam punar vihatum ichen narasagraho janaha. My dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc., because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. Om ajnanatimirandhasya ajnananjanashalakaya chakkhurunmilitayena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitayena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse speaks about the ecstasy of a devotee who cannot forget. You know, when you come into the contact with devotional service and with the Lord, especially if you have a taste of the lotus feet of the Lord, then even if you for some time return to material activities, you will come back to the Lord because you cannot forget the taste. The taste is contagious. You have to come back to the Lord. So when we are doing our most important service for this movement, which is distributing Krishna conscious literature, we also after some time may be diverted to some other activities or maybe not so much spiritual activities. But if we have got some taste, because there is a great taste in sharing the knowledge with others, we cannot forget, and we have to remember the ecstasy again and again. So this shloka speaks about how a devotee can sometimes fall down. And I'm not going to speak about fall down here. I mean, the general fall down. But there can be different levels of falling down. So it's, in the purport by our acharyas to the verses which start Hyayato Vishan Pungsach, and gradually how the living entity falls again into the material pool, as is translated by Srila Prabhupada. So they sometimes describe that when we fall down, it does not have to be always just fully into Maya, all sinful activities like that. But also the fall down is a state of mind in which we think, I will not make it this life. I'm not going to make it this life. It's too much. I will be just relaxed in my devotional service, and maybe in some future lives I will achieve Krishna's lotus feet, but in this life I will not be able to manage. So this is also considered a sort of fall down from the determination which we have for the service, for the service to Krishna, and the determination to achieve perfection in the sense for purification from the matter and pure desire to serve Krishna in this lifetime. And also similarly, many devotees, they come to devotional service and where they start very enthusiastically, but it's a common thing in all religions basically and all spiritual practices that people lose after some time that initiate enthusiasm and determination and the desire to achieve the very ideal goals, and they just gradually merge back again into their material attachments. So that happens to us as devotees also, to many devotees. And sometimes we have a tendency to say, in when I was young, in good old days, we were so fired up for devotional service that these were the times. But actually, if we are properly practicing the devotional service, those times were amazing, of course. Special mercy of Krishna, dedication to Krishna. But now, these times should be even more amazing. Because we have learned a lot, we have purified our heart more. And in this way, it should be good old days and also good present days. All of them should be dedicated fully to Krishna and also very good future days. So, in this way, our lives are in fully in Krishna's service, and in this way we can have very blissful lives. So when we have this Sankirtan festival, so we expect to hear about book distribution and importance of it, and it is also a common thing that the devotee starts to do some book distribution. He distributes for some time, then he gradually stops, and often you never see him again in the streets. Yeah, it's very common also. Many devotees who distributed books in past, they are not anymore, not even inspired, to inspire others or like that. They just completely forget about the whole activity, or some are like unwilling to undergo again the austerity which is connected with that. There is a lot of bliss, but there is also an austerity which you have to perform there to get the bliss. It's not just like this, you get a halwa and you taste and it's immediately sweet. But of course it's like that, but because of our conditioning it's not immediately available, so there is some Syat Krishna Name Charita Sitapya Vidya, how it continues? Pitopatapta, rasanasya, narochikano. Yeah? No taste, because of pitopatapta, because of the bile from the jaundice. So we feel it a little bitter, but of course the more we dedicate and more we surrender to Krishna, the more sweetness and taste we can find in this service. So it's often the mind is giving these thoughts. You are supposed to go for marathon and for book distribution, to go out, and the mind is, maybe you will not be able to distribute. When you were young you have been able, but now maybe you will not be able. And then it's like telling all these things. But then I'm thinking, anyway, I should have some experience. After distributing some years, I should have some experience. So why it should be worse than when I was completely new? It should be actually better. It's not always better, because that beginning's enthusiasm is something also special, and also times are changing and body is changing and different things. But still we should be able to surrender to Krishna. Yeah? This is what we actually train on book distribution, to be surrendered and dependent on Krishna. And I think this is the greatest source of happiness, because which we have on book distribution, as that we can fully depend on Krishna. So that, as we discussed some days ago, about these stories and bliss on Sankirtan. Of course, I'm usually more blissful when I distribute more books. That's just general symptom. Yeah, when everybody is taking, you feel like you don't feel cold anymore. If it is cold outside and everybody is taking books, you find you somehow or other you don't feel that cold. You feel okay. You are nicely warm. But if nobody is taking, then you feel all the influences of material nature. It's very cold and raining and time is not going. I want to go to the car to take rest or to read or something, or back pain even. I sometimes have this back pain here when carrying the Lakshmi bag, with Lakshmi, especially if they give me a lot of coins, then it's getting heavy. So some back pain is there. And but when everything goes, so many people are taking books, I forget about it, and I think I don't know how it works, but it works like that. So generally we have this. This was a very nice day, That means many books went out, and this was very heavy day. That means almost no books went out, and nasty people, heavy people, difficult day. And if we depend only on our result to taste the nectar of book distribution, then we will suffer here and there, for sure. Sooner or later we will suffer. And especially, of course, when we have this competition, so that's very much wanted. But if we take it too much seriously on the material platform, then we suffer also. Because we want to be number 3 or number 2 or number 1, and then somebody is doing more than us, who was supposed to be behind us because he's younger and he's less experienced and he's more spaced out and has worse sadhana than we have, but he is ahead of us. And then we are in the street, and in first hour we have just 2 books, and then we suffer much. I mean, the suffering is being multiplied. And then we see in the evening the result of that other devotee, and he has 20 books more, and this is it's really painful when we are attached, and the competition is not in the right mood. Actually, if the competition is in the right mood, we should be very happy for the results of all other devotees, because people got books. This is why we are there, not to be number 2, number 1, number 3 or whatever, but we are there so people can get books, and they are getting the books from the devotee. And the devotee was somehow or other used by Krishna, and that's very glorious. That's amazing. So, of course, we want to also do more. That's there, but there has to be the healthy consciousness of also wishing to others and not be too much attached to the result. Because when we are too attached, then it hurts. Then it hurts. And of course, this is not the main concern, if it hurts or not. We want to distribute a lot of books, and if the cost is that it will hurt to some extent, we are willing to do it, because the main thing is to distribute books. But still, we should cultivate our consciousness. So we depend on Krishna, and at the same time do as much as we can to distribute as many books as possible. This is like this. It's little difficult. It's like the eternal attempt to try to find the balance in between these two things. You try as much as as much as you can. So, but then you become the tendency is to become attached to the results, and then you have to also at the same time depend on the will of Krishna and on His mercy, and there is a tendency to relax your effort there after that. So you are a little more spaced out, and Krishna will arrange whatever is there. 0 books today, no problem, dear temple president. It's just Krishna's arrangement. I'm completely satisfied. I feel the nectar. So that also it's not the proper consciousness and attitude. So in this verse, it was in the purport, a few points have been mentioned. One is that when we do devotional service, we feel this great taste from devotional service, and when we find taste in book distribution, the taste is there, and many devotees taste it, then we will want to come back. Even if we do some other services, we want to come back at least for the marathon, or whenever we have some spare time, we want to go out and share with people the knowledge, the books from Srila Prabhupada, because this first, it is so much enlivening here to see other souls taking the mercy. And also, another thing is that there are miraculous things happening. It's Chaitanya Leela, it's Krishna's, it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, and he can use us in many different ways. And if we just stay there and continue, for sure something amazing will happen. But at the same time, also the nectar is from that we can be fully dependent on Krishna, that you do not know what will happen. It's out of our control. Much more than washing the pots. Also, we depend on Krishna because he is giving the power to our senses, and strength to our mind, so we are able to wash the pot. But still, we can influence it more than when we are in the street and we do not know what kind of people we will meet, what will be the reaction. And for this reason, it's also why I like to do door-to-door book distribution, because you really do not know who will open. It's completely out of your control. It's completely, you cannot influence it at all. Of course, you can choose the location. Of course, that's there. But if the son will open, or mother, or father, or what will be the person, if they are at home or not, you have very little influence on what's going on. Of course, in the street you have little more, so you can choose the people if you are there in the street, and choose young people if you like young people, or if you like mothers with babies, you can focus on mothers with babies, so easy target, And when you are a little more sharp, then you can focus on businessmen, and choose them because they have money, and like that. But still, all book distribution is, we cannot influence what kind of people we will meet fully, and we have to depend on Krishna. And that dependence on Krishna is actually the source of some kind of, happiness, and you feel the shelter of Krishna, and how he is actually the time when you become aware that okay, it's all in Krishna's hands, then you feel so much lighter. Yeah, it's just okay, it's in Krishna's hands. Whoever I meet, whatever will happen, it's in Krishna's hands. And I will try, of course, but it is in Krishna's hands. And this is very nice. This, I always remember one situation when I was sitting in a Sankirtan, when we have been chanting, and then you hear the drops of the rain, falling on the roof window, and you realize, oh no, a raining day. And many devotees, they don't like to distribute in rain, and so you feel like discouraged. So I felt, okay, again, so a rainy day, cold, no people, not much people in the street, especially when you are in a small town. And and it's usually a little more difficult. And then I realized, and then I was thinking, chanting and thinking, and then, but actually, it's Krishna's arrangement. And it's an opportunity to depend more on Krishna, because it's more out of your hands. So I cannot influence this, so let me go out and just remember Krishna, and just be a witness of what will happen there in the street. And immediately the whole, setup, the mindset changed, and one was very happy and eager to go out and be there and just try to distribute. And then the point which Srila Prabhupada mentions, although this is in a connection when a devotee, goes a little side from his path, then Krishna can make him helpless. And helpless situation is very favorable for our devotional service, because then we depend on the Lord. And if you go on a Sankirtan, you will for sure feel helpless. And that's voluntarily, you are putting yourself in the situation of helplessness. Yeah? So that's also very, very good and very nice on book distribution. Then you are basically in a helpless situation and you don't know what will happen. Often you just shoot out all your mantras, and then sometimes people do not react and just, are seeing the books and checking the pages, and you have no other option than just, you already told to them and they are not speaking back. So you just pray, Krishna, please, let him take a book. Srila Prabhupada, please, let him take a book. And you just pray. They're looking and pray, Krishna, please, let him take a book. You are the soul in the heart. So you just pray, and you're helpless. You don't know what else you can do. You tried from this side, tried from that side, you tried from that side. Then just pray. And many times the people, okay, I will take. Or maybe not. Anyway, next person is there. Yeah. So back to this detachment, there is also one more point, that when we are detached, when we are attached, then sometimes we are not even able to go out in the street. So there are not many devotees. I mean, there are many devotees distributing books, but there is much more devotees. There are much more devotees who do not go out to distribute books, and this is much greater number of the devotees. And this is often because exactly the attachment. We are attached to the result. What will others think if I distribute 0? What will others think if I distribute just few books? I'm so many years in the movement, and now I will go out, and maybe no books will be going out. So what will others think? So that's one sort of fear. And another fear is that the false ego is attached, to get some praise and be in peaceful, in comfortable zone. But when you go out, you are fully out of comfortable zone. Especially in some places, then just people scold you and call you bad names and send you to find a job and call police. And it regularly happens to me, especially door to door. When we do door to door, people, especially when you do the apartment buildings, because you have to enter the corridor and then you ring on the flats. So people are like, they do not like that some alien, entered their, property and is inside, and then usually, quite often, every day usually they call police, at least once. And so, but when you are detached, and dependent on Krishna, then okay, whatever will happen, it's in Krishna's hands. And this is the beauty actually of book distribution. And this kind of taste, it's actually it's a specific taste which is difficult to get anywhere else. Even when we practice devotional service, do different services, the taste of, going out, depending on Krishna, trying to share the knowledge, speaking with different people of different mentalities, of different religion, being against everyone, practically. We are challenging everything. We are against all opinions in the world, all the world views. We are completely opposite to all. Of course, we are also on their side. It's not that we are fighting with them, but when they present their ideas, we don't agree with anything. We don't agree with materialism. We don't agree with big part of Christianity, with Buddhism and with esoteric New Age stuff. And there are so many, different approaches. And people, and you are there just alone, but you are never alone. Yeah? You are there with Krishna. So that's very, very, very big source of special taste which we can get through this. And when we taste that taste, the result should be that even when we are doing something else or we lose some enthusiasm, then again we should remember this great nectar and again come back into this important service and mission. So another thing which really helps a devotee to continue with book distribution is to understand that karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbur mate sango stvakarmani. That you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you don't have right for a results. This is not for you. But you have to do your duty. This is your right, and you have to do it. But the results, it's not for you. So when we focus on process of book distribution more than just on the result, then we can just continue even in difficult days, And difficult days can be also, I will say it like this: the obstacle can be difficult and heavy people which you are meeting and heavy circumstances. And also an obstacle to book distribution can be when somebody takes a lot of books, and you start to enjoy it. That can be also an obstacle to book distribution, because sometimes, it happens generally that when for example, somebody nice appears and he takes the whole set, and finally you have 30 books distributed, or 15 or 20, books distributed, Bhagavatam you give. Then if you are not used to that, then you will, that was a nectar. And you will think, this was such a nectar and such a nectar. And for 1 hour you are thinking how amazing nectar it was, and that you already, achieved your quota. And then you just stop you become too relaxed, and you don't distribute with the same enthusiasm. But the people which are coming just after that person who took a set, they have nothing, no benefit from that person taking a set. So we should immediately just not try to enjoy it. Okay, I distributed anyway, this was Krishna's arrangement, let me go for another person and another person and another person. And in the same way, when it's too difficult, then somebody is very nasty with us, then we feel discouraged. But the next person can be a person who is willing to take the mercy. So in this way, we shouldn't be influenced by the sukha dukkha in the street, by the suffering and happiness, but should just continue and understand, okay, this I have to do my duty. So mind is coming during the day with different ways how to distract us. I think even those who distribute a lot of books, they have to fight with minds, isn't it? On a daily basis, usually, or at least weekly basis. So that mind is telling, maybe it's enough for today, or today it will not work, and after whatever, so we have to convince again and again the mind. So this is one thing which can help us very much. Okay, this is my duty, and I'm supposed to be here. I'm doing my service for Krishna, and let's see what will be the result, and I will do my best. And Krishna, please help me. Once Kandamakana Maharaj told us before marathon, he used to come to Prague temple often, and when I was in Prague, and during the marathon, sometimes he was there also for a weekend or something like that. And we had a darshan with him, with one other devotee book distributor, and he told us, you just go there and say, Krishna, I'm here, I'm willing, I have books, everything is ready, I am here, I am going to be here till the night, I'm going to be here, but I need your help. I just need your help. I cannot do it without your help. And in this mood, that should be the proper attitude in which we are doing this amazing service. And this service is, although it's a preaching and spreading the Krishna consciousness, which is generally, preacher should be a very qualified and exalted Vaishnava, that is a preacher. We don't actually even consider ourselves preachers. We are just assistants of Srila Prabhupada. But there is an opinion in some, part, or in some members of our movement, that you should go out to preach only after you achieve some very high levels of devotional service. When you are achieving a raganuga bhakti, or spontaneous love to Krishna. This is quite influential, actually. It's quite influential, and there are devotees who are pushing this point that first you should chant many rounds and just do your bhajan and become qualified, loving Krishna, and then you can do something in the preaching. And otherwise, what will you do? You are not qualified. But this is completely against completely opposite what Srila Prabhupada said and did. It's very obvious for anyone who knows what Srila Prabhupada did and what is the history of this movement, that all of us have been engaged in preaching from the very beginnings. And of course, there are different levels of preaching. Not every preaching is for everyone. But to distribute books is basically for any devotee, practically. And it's part of the path to get purified and achieve those spontaneous levels of devotional service. This is the part of our sadhana. And also it's a kind of mirror. You can understand how advanced you are, not according to number of books you distribute, but how willing you are and how much you are able to tolerate there in the street, whatever happens there. And if you are not able to tolerate no from the people, that means probably some ego is still there. Yeah, probably is there. And usually the result is then when these people are telling, you have to first achieve very high levels of devotional service, and then you can preach. So they usually die first before they manage to go out preaching. That is the usual result. You are achieving the highest levels of consciousness, then you die, and you never go preaching. Or there is also some devotees in Czech having some guru who is supposed to be Prabhupada disciple, but is not in ISKCON, and he is telling you, chant your 64 rounds, and in this way you will do more benefit. You will benefit the world more than those who go out and distribute books, because you will create the atmosphere, So they are sitting, chanting, and they are creating the spiritual atmosphere. And in this way, they are purifying the whole world and actually the whole universe. And those book distributors, they are just passionate, materialistic people who want to. Yes. So these are also different obstacles which are waiting for a devotee, which is a little doubtful maybe about his service. Let us do our duty. And Srila Prabhupada said that every devotee should learn this art. We also know that so many other services has to be performed, and that this shouldn't be the mentality of elitarianism between the Sankirtan devotees, that I am, book distributor and you are just. It was also there, sometimes it was like very strong. And we should be respectful to all devotees doing different services and trying to serve Krishna, but also all of us should understand that and should respect those who are taking this important mission, because without this, our movement wouldn't be ISKCON. Yeah? If we don't do this frontline preaching, then it would. We need there is a front line and there is this, how we call it? Not backup. Back end, I know, yeah? So support, it's needed. But without the front line, it has no value. So the front line has to be there. And every devotee has to be interested, at least, and interested in how many books are distributed, how it's going to, how are the devotees on book distribution doing, how many books they are distributing, and do they need something from us, how can we help them. So in this way, the mood should be like, we are here all for book distribution. Maybe not all of us can do it on a full-time basis or a regular basis, but this is the main thing. And the book distribution, of course, it is there for inspiring people to join the movement and to become devotees. And all of us are very grateful to devotees who gave us the first book. I don't know who gave me the first book, although I got a book as a first thing, but I don't know who put it there because it was in the town's library and I borrowed there. But that person put it there, and when I read first 5 pages, it was clear that it is the end of anything else, of anything else. I felt such a relief that that Krishna is the Lord, and I don't have to become the God because I was reading that before, in different spiritual books, that you have to become one with God, or you have to realize that you are God. And I felt somehow or other very uncomfortable to become everything. And because it seemed to me that if I become everything, I will become nothing. Because everyone will become everything. So what will be the difference between me and you? So whose consciousness it will be? Will it be my consciousness or his consciousness? This all-pervading consciousness which will I achieve. It will be his or mine. So if it will be his, I will cease to exist. So that was my thinking when I was reading these books, but I was thinking, okay, there is nothing higher which I have read till now, so I have to also merge. What to do? Anyway, let me try to merge with the Supreme or with the with Brahman. But then I opened Srila Prabhupada's books, and in the first few pages it was clear. I'm a soul, I'm eternal soul, I'm not God, I will never become God, and I have to serve Krishna, who is God and who is always God. And it was such a relief. It was such a relief. I felt like home, It was like, oh, thank you. Krishna is there. I can serve him. I don't have to merge with absolute and become nothing. So this was so much relieving. And in this way, many people are feeling similar emotions when they read books, and then they can feel that, okay, finally I found, I'm in the real home, something which really makes sense, and I can apply it. And it was, beginnings they were very ecstatic, and although now it is also ecstatic, but it is ecstatic in different ways. Now already all different preparations, all different devotees, and also their faults and their challenges, and the reality of ISKCON history, and everything you already know. In the beginning, it was like very idealistic, naive, and you just wanted to, and it was also real, from your heart you felt again after many, many lives, you felt connection again with your source, with Krishna. So that's extremely strong, that part when you are again from the material life coming to devotional service, that's very strong emotions. And I was when I first saw the devotees, or when I was supposed to first visit the temple, it was so intense, intense experience. I think you had very similar experiences when you have been young, and I was thinking, okay, I will become a brahmachari. I was thinking I will become a book distributor, because the temple where I was going to in Prague was full of book distributors when I was very young. I could visit maybe once in 3 months in the beginning, because my parents were very inimical, very negative towards devotees, and they didn't like it at all. So I had to go without them knowing it. So I always lied to them that I'm going to somewhere else. And there were many book distributors there, so I was thinking I will become also a Sankirtan devotee. Of course, that was also a false ego, I want to be also like them. And then when I first time tried book distribution, it was maybe after one year and a half of my being in touch with the books and practicing a little bit. So I tried first time, and then I thought maybe I will be a pujari, because this doesn't work for me. It's too hard, it's too heavy. And although we know Sankirtan is fun and easy, it wasn't easy for me at that time. I was alone, I was a bhakta, not initiated, and I was not living in a temple. I saw devotees maybe 6-7 times, maybe 10 times. At that time, I bought 30 books from Ashwari Prabhu, a local Namahata center leader. And he said, this is quite a lot of books, you are buying. 30 books, I was thinking, but those devotees, they are distributing 100 a day and more. So why couldn't I distribute 30 books in 1 week or 2 weeks, or how much time I had? So, but then I went out in the street, I was there alone. Maybe some of you know the story, but at that time I was 18 already, and I had this parikram bag, I bought it in a temple. I put books there and went out, but I was waiting before it's dark, so I don't meet somebody who I know. It was in the town when I was going to school. I was living there in hostel, and I went there to square, to downtown, to the center, and it was, I think, 4 p.m., something like that. And okay, I'm here, and some strange feeling I had in my heart, very strange feeling. And I wanted to start, but I couldn't. I couldn't, approach people. So I was thinking, okay, let me see where is the best spot. So I walked around the square like this, came back to the same place, went again, and again at the same place. I was thinking, okay, what I'm doing here, I'm not stopping any people. This is something is cheating me, Actually, I have fear, I don't want to do it. And I was and then, okay, I have to do it. So there was one old lady going. I think, oh, this is a good target. I can try this one. So my dear lady, good evening. And she said, get out of here. I'm going to church, Don't. And she was very nasty to me. I was, what to do? Okay, Krishna, what to do? And then I stayed at one place and convinced my mind to try at least for 1 hour. So I was trying for 1 hour, and Krishna allowed me. I remember first book which I distributed, it was like, wow, how is it possible? That person took a book, and finally I was able to distribute 7 books. That was, and I came back to my hostel, and I was thinking, oh, this is actually very less. Devotees in Prague, in temple, they are distributing 100 books in a day. I distributed 7. This is very less. So I have to do more. So next day I went again. Again, the start was a little difficult, but then I managed to start. It was maybe a little bit more difficult than the first day, actually, because then already you had some experience and the mind was like against it. Then maybe 4 books I did that afternoon. And next day I went again and nobody was taking. I was there maybe 2 hours and 0, nothing. And I was there and somebody was promising, I will come tomorrow, wait for me at this place. I came there next day waiting for that person, naive, very naive, that person will come and buy the book. And I tried to go to the bookstore, and we are a BBT, and we publish books, and we have some books for you. Maybe you would like to take some. Nothing worked. And I didn't get any training, nothing. It just went on my own. I almost said nobody, just the devotee who I bought books from. And finally, after 2 hours of struggling, I sold a book. And that was such an ecstasy. I was literally dancing and jumping in the street. I sold Prabhupada a book. That person has a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. It was such a pleasing, it was so strong. It was amazing. But still the fear remained, And then I was doing door to door the last day because I went back to the center where I bought the books from, and that devotee Ashwari Prabhu sent me and Pada Pankaja, those who know him, they know him, to do door to door in one village. And there I was able to distribute, I think, also about 7 books in 2 hours. So it was not that bad. But after this, I didn't want to go out. It was for me, like for ego and mind, it was very difficult for me. And then I thought maybe I will be a pujari. That's maybe also nice service. And anyway. Then I went for Bhakta program, and then we distributed few books on the marathon. Again, I was always the last one. I just couldn't distribute any book. And it was worse even than before, the first try. And then I became a temple commander. And then after 2 years in a temple, I was supposed to go out for book distribution full time. And for the last 2 years, I was basically with one more devotee, with Madhukanta Prabhu, we were switching the last and second last place, on the list. So it was like this. And I was taken off from Sankirtan, so some others could go out. So again, they put me as a temple commander. Then again, I went out because I wanted to do it. At that time, I was already convinced I want to do this service. And gradually it took 2 or 3 years before my results went to some reasonable numbers. So our temple president was willing to let me continue. So let us try to do our ecstatic duty and share with people Krishna consciousness, and let good old days be good, and let the present days be even better. Yeah? Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you. If there is any comment or question or anything, there is one.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the class. Do you have any practical advice on how to engage new devotees who may live in the city and are only coming sporadically, to engage them in book distribution and continue engaging them? Because usually they have a very bad experience the first time and feel just lost, and then they don't try again.
Yeah, this is actually the great challenge which is there. It's a realistic thing. We can speak only about how this is nectar and it's bliss and like that, but reality is that many devotees do not want to go out again because they are burned out. Yeah, they have bad experience. They went, they tried, they've been there for some hours or day or days, and then it's too much for them. They cannot take it anymore. It's just very difficult for them. Yeah, I don't have any, full solution. There are things which work, but still I don't know exactly how to deal with all, how to inspire everyone so they will not become burned. It's just part of it. And in our community, there are quite several devotees who are from congregation and who have been able to distribute quite nice amount of books, and they have been able to become nice book distributors. And there are also some who do not want to go out anymore, and they hear about it, and they just completely no. And there are also devotees who are like cynical, we can say, towards it. I have heard that many times. And they are completely immune to any preaching about book distribution. There is full immunity, You can preach everything, you can read all the shlokas, you can read the letters from Srila Prabhupada, and they will say, okay, that's fully immune, Nothing is touching them. There is a good shield, And they will say, I was also thinking, like this when I was young, I was also doing this. But now I already know, it's just useless waste of time, People will anyway not join or whatever, It's just, you're just suffering, you're torturing yourself and this and that. So this is another group, which is the most, dangerous for young devotee. And yeah, I'm trying to make it tasteful for the devotees who go for the first time. So, for example, we do this Harinam Sankirtan party. So we go with Harinam, and some book distribution is there in between, so they can all try. And it's without any push, so many books. Just we do Harinams 2 hours, then 2 hours book distribution. And those who are experienced, they distribute full time during the Harinams, of course. But those who are not, we just go for Harinam, and then we take all of them together to do book distribution. And all of us are there, and we are together, and it's a fun, and somebody is nice and somebody is not nice, so it's more soft for them. But if you put them in the street or they will go by their own, I was also frightened to some extent, but somehow by the mercy of Krishna and devotees, I overcame it and continued. But yeah. So this is one way, for example. This could be the thing. They can start with prasadam distribution. That also helps because that's more easy. For some people, it's really difficult, to approach others. So that can also help. And the guidance from others, that can also help. And if it's too much for somebody, maybe we can wait a little bit, or they can just assist someone and maybe try a little bit, but not push them too much, maybe they can go with someone for 1 hour and just stop one person. They can just try a little bit without any, like Vaisheshika Prabhu says, just touch the pavement, just go there and just, be there. And maybe you will say to someone hello, like that. So that can help. And of course, the main help is we need to read Srila Prabhupada's books and have the understanding, and then it will be more easy for us to overcome this false ego, because it is false ego, basically, who does not like to distribute books and stop people, and that's so. If we become advanced also a little more, so we have to try to nicely practice devotional service, and time to time we can do, or we can do in some more soft way, like small books or the prasadam, or if somebody gives us a bigger donation, that we give them a book. Rajan Prabhu, you wanted to say something. You do with your presence, it's also a little, easier.
I have an own experience because it was also very hard for me to go out. In the beginning, I was alone, and I never made it really steady. So, and I had then the experience that good association with experienced Sankirtan devotee can be very, very helpful when you are willing to only go out with him and learn and observing and seeing what he's doing, being in this energy. I have myself made this experience, and also this marathon we made this experience because we were going out together, and we have a Namahata center with a WhatsApp group, and we invited our friends, Krishna's friends, to go with us if they want or whatever. No? And one of them really was coming and was asking, where are you? And I will come and I will participate. And he was coming from his alone. And then we saw he was going with us, and we're observing Krishna Bhumi when she was speaking with the people, was full in this energy. And after some time, from alone, he was starting to ask someone. Slowly, really slowly. In the beginning, he was also a little bit shy and looking what is going on here. But he saw by Krishna Bhumi, it works. Okay, I can also try. And then, he distributed his first 2 books, and it was really slowly coming into it. It was really helpful. This was our experience. But the devotees, they must be willing in the beginning, not I will also do it by myself and I try it out and run away. He can learn from experience and practice.
What also helps a lot, if the whole community is into it, most of the devotees or all the devotees, then it's so much contagious and everybody wants to try. So that's also very, very much helpful. If the leader is into it and senior devotees are into it, and everybody speaks about book distribution, and everybody is doing to some extent that, then I have seen even in our community that just very simple devotees and very shy devotees could take part and do their part also. I mean, could distribute some books, and practically everyone was doing at least some sort of book distribution. So that's, but still, also I'm seeing that Maya has her ways also, to discourage. After some time it goes down and you have to try again and again. And I was thinking in the beginning, I will just be an example. I will just distribute myself, and because I do what I am telling, then everybody will just follow. But it doesn't, didn't work like this. Just, okay, you do your thing, you are Sankirtan, yes, so we are supposed to do Sankirtan, but let me be myself, and I'm not going to do it. So you have to try, and you have to,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe you can tell a nice story, because in my experience, when we hear like almost magical stories, they give a lot of faith also in the whole process that Krishna then can empower and arrange. Because in the Nectar of Book Distribution, there's so many like amazing stories, and when I was out, I rarely experienced that. And I thought, my God, what are they doing? And they have all this, and sometimes just a little bit. So maybe you have some special stories, like,
Okay, you haven't been there probably the other day. We discussed some stories, but I have some extra anyway.
Yeah.
But the same thing as you have, I was telling similar point that there are so many amazing stories, but most of our time there in the Sankirtan is kind of routine work, that you approach and some book, and then again it's not always every day so miraculous that you could make it a nice story. And But there are, yeah, of course. So, okay, if when I am asked, I will tell at least one or two more. Okay, this is this I like the most. I think I have told this one here also in some other time. But this is a distribution to Mayavadis, to the New Age Mayavadi style. So I met these two ladies, and I am explaining them the books, and they are telling, oh yeah, this is nice, we are all one, everything is one. I didn't tell much, and I said, okay, I was feeling when I was cleaning the window that there was particles of dust, and that I am that particle of the dust, that's me, and I felt this great connection, and everything is, and you are me, and me is you, and it's so nice we meet here, and we are all one. And they finally took books, 2 books, and I said them that they should pay, so that changed, the oneness in their mind, they're unwilling, they started to be a little unwilling, so they paid, but they paid for the books. And then I told them, because I don't like just to let them with me agreeing with their opinion. So after them having the books, I had to tell them, that they are completely out of the... So I told them a little bit, that actually we are not one, there is a God, and we should serve him. And they then, oh, what is this, We don't want this. You actually manipulated us. And I gave you money, but I didn't want. So you manipulated us. I said, no. Me is you. And you is me. So actually you sold yourself these books. And actually these books are also you. And your money, it's also you. And it's in my pocket. But it's your pocket because me is you. But actually it's all your arrangement. And they were like this. Both of them, they were like... they couldn't say anything, and they just repeated, so that's me who is you, and who sold me the book, and they just went away with books and completely. So that was great victory, I felt, Nice. Sometimes I try this trick, if the Mayavadi is there, so give me your wallet in my pocket or in your pocket, what is the difference? So usually it doesn't work, it usually doesn't work, but it happened to me also once, because he doesn't have a lot of money, he had maybe 500 crowns, it's like 20 euros, so I took them and said, okay, it's in my pocket, and he was like standing at his, behind his point, so he allowed me to take those money. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And once it happened to me in Brno, that I met a girl, and she said, oh, not possible. Just today I had a dream. I will meet an orange monk who will give me some knowledge which I need. I had this very lively dream, and I was going to Brno, but probably I will meet him. She was not from Brno, and I was standing there and I said, oh, that's you. I actually met you in my dream. So that was also very, very special thing. So anyway, just one funny story at the end. Recently I was distributing books door to door, and actually most of interesting stories I get from door to door book distribution. In streets also, but in door to door it's like so many different situations and different kinds of people, and I was distributing, and I rang the bell, in the apartment building, and one man opened the door, young man. I explained him everything, and he said, okay, maybe my partner, my girl, will be interested. And he closed the door, and then silence, 1 minute, and then they started to speak, And that lady was, I'm not going there. How he get in, What is it? How is it possible? How is ringing in our house and our home? Our flat, let him go out. I don't want to go there. So they were arguing like this, and I was standing there, and they had the book inside. So I was standing there and hearing everything through the door. It's mostly they speak inside. You hear it outside, but they do not realize you hear it. So I was hearing a whole conversation, and then she opened the door, and he said, "Oh, hello. what is this book about? She was holding this book, and what is this about? And she was like being very nice. And I explained, oh, this is about, yoga, meditation, spiritual life, India, like that. And she said, oh, and does it cost something? Yes, give 100 Czech crowns. This is 5 euros. And she said, oh, okay. She closed the door, and again, I don't want to give him anything. He wants money. Do you have 100? I have only 200 here. Do you have 100? And again, some argument. And then she came, opened the door, and here you have 200. This is for you, 200. And because I heard the conversation, I said, oh, maybe you want 100 back? I can give you exchange. No, this is for you. This is no problem. This is our pleasure. And close the door, and again some argument, and I went. Okay. If I start to tell stories, we will sit here very long. And so we are supposed to hear some voice messages, isn't it? Who is there? Who is having them? Gokul? Not yet? So before he comes, maybe somebody can get him. I can tell some other story. Oh, so who will play? We are supposed to... Uh-huh. Okay, my favorite story... Yeah, Prabhu. Yes, of course. Yeah.
I just wanted to say how, we, as you said, you did 7 books or you did 4 books. That we get sometimes caught into the numbers, and then you did only 12 books today, and I did only 24. But actually, every book is very, very important. Every single book, one book is very important. This summer I was in Ireland, in Dublin, and there was the Rath Yatra, and I usually distribute books during the Rath Yatra. But because the kirtan was so loud, these loudspeakers, so I had to go either like 200 meters behind the Rath Yatra or 200 meters before. It was so loud. So I was going behind it, meaning that the cart has passed, the huge kirtan has passed. And so in between the Rath Yatra and the street is like all these people have to hear it. They had to hear the kirtan, to see the cart. And I approached one lady 200 meters after the Rath Yatra, and she said, what is this about? So I explained, I said, you see, we just have this procession. She said, what procession? She didn't see the Rath Yatra cart. She didn't hear the kirtan. This is amazing, And I was like, you didn't see this? And she said, no. And then she was very interested. She was from Argentina. She took a book. And I said, if you like, you can come follow us. And she followed us 3 hours. 3 hours, whole procession. And then we had the park program. She went to the park. She listened the whole full program. She ate the prasadam. She bought some more books. And she bought some mahaprasadam, some shal or something. Amazing. So one book, and she would just pass by, So one book is even one book is very important. So we should not think I did only 4 books today or 5, because this one book may be in your library that you actually joined. So we should always consider this success, just one very book. Yeah.
I remember one devotee from our temple in Prague went one day to Prague to distribute books, and he distributed for the whole day only one book. And he was like, oh, it was so heavy. But that one person became a devotee. He really hit the right one, So you never know. And sometimes, what also, to some extent, I see in many towns when I'm always able to distribute many books, nobody is coming, nobody is joining. And in some other places where it is very difficult to distribute and just few books go out, people will come and join. So you can never, exactly judge how is it. And this is very important meditation for every book distributor, to be grateful for each and every book which he is allowed to distribute to others. Every book is a miracle. Every book. Okay. Anything else? So shall we stop here? probably. Okay, thank you very much. And probably we will not hear this voice mail, so next year. Thank you. Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai.
Sankirtan Prabhu ki jai.